Yeah, as continuing to this yesterday's session or yesterday's the concept that we are going to discuss that today about new AI engineer roles in the market. About new AI engineer role in the market. That is, we are going to look into that. But yesterday, if you just go ahead and quickly recollect about that, we were talking this last 30 years of that, the industry, how it was, and how this technologies are evaluating that in the market. That is, we were discussing, and especially artificial intelligence point of view. Yes, what is the AI? What is ML? What is the deep learning? And in that deep learning, what are the different models are available? That is a classification model, that is discriminative, which we can say are generative models. But understanding the difference between discriminative models and the generative models. Yeah, discriminative model is just keep this in the mind about our the playlist, and where we will add it about our the favorite songs or the movies into the different playlists, right? That is a classification, that is just labeling that the data. That is about discriminative models. Then we are going to started understanding about generative models also. This is the next decade which is going to change that in a lot of industries, not only just like one IT, or don't think that only IT is going to impact with the AI. So many industries like healthcare domain, education domain, IT industry, and automotive, the mobile based. If you take that, any industry that is going to have the impact with these generative models. But what about this generative model? Yeah, so we have that existing data, and if we just use that existing data and use these generative models to generate new type of content. So there's the music data, taking about it and using the generative models and generating or creating new music. So these are all points that we were concluding. So this artificial intelligence is not this the today's technology. This is almost which was started from the 1940s. But that product training models and optimization techniques, fine tuning techniques, and data collection. So all this, it was taken that last 40 years or the 50 years of this the market. Now, as we're understanding that, now the models are ready. The models are ready. So once the models are ready, you can use it, those models, and you can build that new applications. What about those new type of applications? And how it is going to have this next generation in this AI field or AI market? That is, we are going to starting that today's objective, that is new AI engineer. Old AI engineer, you see there's the machine learning developer or deep learning developer. So machine learning developer, he should know that algorithms and fine tuning techniques, data handling mechanism, data cleaning. We have some process models, ML process, 6 or 7 steps which we have this in the process model. Now we don't need that. As a new AI engineer, you should know how to use these existing models and how you can generate a new content. That is about generative AI. Are you clear about this? Or do you have any queries, questions? Please let me know before moving to this today's objective. That is about generative AI. Yeah, please type this in the chat window. If you are good, so just type the CLR in the chat window, or otherwise, let me know if you have any queries, questions. Now quickly. So everyone use the chat window and give me the response. Are you clear with the stress concepts? Yeah, clear. Come on, quickly. Yes, clear. Good. Good, good, good. Good response. It is bumping that like the chart window. So it's really nice. Thank you. Yeah, let's understand this. What is generative AI? Already daily we are using this, right? How many of you know the chat GPT? If you're using the chat GPT, or if you're using the any AI tool in the market, is nothing but any AI tools currently which are available, like a image processing point of view, text processing point of view, the voice processing, or video processing. We have the different tools which are available in the market. So if you are using this, any one of the tool is nothing but you are already using these generative AI models. But yes, what is generative AI? Yeah, if we split that word generative plus AI, generate content. That could be text-based, image-based, or audios, or the videos, or the code. So generate all these type of the content using AI model. Yeah, generative language model. Suppose if you ask the question, like I suppose example, if you just take the chat GPT, tell me about the dogs. Yes, it is going to give the complete details about the dogs, right? Or if you use the Google, let me talk about the Google. Can you ask like this? Tell me about the dogs. Yes, you can search it in the Google. Tell me about the dogs. But it doesn't directly tell about the dogs. It just give the reference of the links, right? That is the difference between traditional programming. Traditional programming is Google search. Tell me about the dogs. But it doesn't give that answer like as a human being. But it just gives the reference of the other links where you can get it about the dogs. But if we use it, these AI models, and if I ask the question, tell me about the dogs, it is going to explain like as a human being, right? Suppose if you both are talking about it, yes, if I don't know about it and I'm asking that, tell me about it, dogs. And if you have this idea on the dogs and you are going to explain to me, that is like as a one-to-one conversation. Like that, now this AI has come up with us with these models, generative AI models, the way you can ask the question, which is belong to the text related or image related or audio related or video related or coding related, then it is going to give the response back with the intelligence mechanism. Yeah, generating that new content. Yeah, goal is generating the new content instead of the making predictions. So generative AI focuses on the creating the new data samples. So ML is a prediction model. So if you just talked about that ML, machine learning, so it is like a home price prediction. Yesterday we were talking, that's one example. Or a loan eligibility is that's another prediction model. So whether he is eligible for the loan or not. But here we are not talking that's a prediction models. So we are talking about it. So the ask the question and it is going to give that answer by taking that from samples. That is about generative AI. The new world you can imagine that you can create like the next generation of the technologies. Yeah, so text generation, writing emails. Suppose you are working in IT industry and you need to send that one email to the manager. Or not only that, okay, you booked the some orders in the Amazon, but you booked that one order, one item, but you got it like a different item, or item is not good. Then you need to send the mail to the customer support team. But how do you write the content? Or what is the content you need to write it? So if I use it, these generative AI tools, that is ChatGPT, writing email for the Amazon customer support team on the wrong item delivery. If you just give it that prompt giving is important. That is a prompt engineering. Yes, we have the separate the specialization. That is, we'll come back to that. Yeah, if I just ask the chat gpt is going to give the complete writing that email to the customer support team. So now you don't need to start from the scratch, right? So about your productivity will be increased. Okay, maybe you can write that email, but it takes like 10 to 15 minutes to write it. But if I use the chat gpt, within the 2 minutes I can get it the complete. So productivity is increasing. That is main. If you just think about it, about your productivity, in which field you are working or in which industry you are working, that whether it is IT industry, whether it is like a healthcare domain, or whether you are working this in like education domain or education industry or insurance or the banking, wherever you talk about it, using these generative AI tools, current employees, the productivity can be increased. That is the beauty of the generative AI tools. Yes. Are you getting my points? So text generation, image generations, or writing the code, or if you are in that IT industry and if you are the developer, and if you know that how to use these the models, the writing the code or debugging or analyzing the programs, these are all some of the roles which are performing that. But that role to perform it, for that role, if you add it to these AI tools, then you will get that more productivity. 2 days work can be completed within 1 hour. Where is about 2 days, 2 into 8, like 16 hours of the work you are going to complete within the 2 hours. Almost 14 hours of the productivity or the cost it has been saved to the client. Or debugging the issues, you don't need to search it to the Google. So if you have that issue or if you have that error, give it to that LLM model, that is generative AI tools, that is ChatGPT. Then it gives like what are the possible steps which we can do that while troubleshooting that issue. So that could be text generation or writing the code or image generations. But we have the different products in the market. So text generation, ChatGPT. Writing the code, yes, we have to separate the platform that is GitHub Copilot. This is a tool. Or if you like to the generate images, yes, another product which is available, that is Dolly. Yeah, different products are available, but these tools, how they are implementing that, how they are implementing these image generations or the code generations, or but back end they are using there some LLM models, right? Yes, using that LLM model as per about our requirement, you can create new products like this by using these generative AI models. That is we are going to understand that. Yeah, anyway, that's the scenarios will come back. But with this generative AI, text generations, code generations, or like image generations, or the videos also which we can generate it. Content writing, planning of this travel tours. Yes, if you need the complete plan of this tour, then it is going to give that in 2 minutes. But how these products can be implemented? How these products can be implemented? Yeah, so you have this unstructured data and use that, I mean, unstructured data with the generative AI models, and you can generate new content, right? You can generate new content. So it uses that, yeah, these generative AI models uses the patterns models with the distribution in unstructured data, that is LLM, large language models. This is that implementation we are going to learn. Are you getting the points about it? So we have this unstructured data. So like a company, each and every company, if we just talk it like they have their unstructured data in their databases or in their files or the PDF files or the CSV files. Huge amount of the data they have that. But using that data for their customers, will they, I mean, can they provide that the better service? Suppose if you just take that example of it, Amazon e-commerce portal. So in the e-commerce portal, like product items, if we just talk it, we have this like thousands or like millions of the products in that portal, right? Let's take it like television, TV. But we have this different, the companies are providing that, like yes, Sony, LG, different vendors we have that. Suppose you have taken the Sony TV and you have written the comment that is about how the product is, that reviews. But are you going to write that only you are the member to write the review, or like are you going to have thousands of the reviews in that product? Thousands of the reviews you will be having that, right? But Sony team member, he has to analyze it about that, like pros, cons, that is about positive reviews, negative reviews. So if he's going to take it about each and every review and he's going to analyze it, think of it how much time it is going to take it for him to give the better service to the customers, or in the next release to give the better features to the product. They need to get the reviews, right? But they have the thousands of the reviews, but how do they summarize about all the reviews? Summarizing. Here the main concept is summarizing of that all the thousand reviews of that single product. How much time it is going to take it for them? So taking that each review and writing that, okay, there are the pros, cons, like that, so many reviews. It is not possible to come up with the conclusion, right? But if you use it LLM models and if you give that data, that is 1,000 reviews is the input to this generative AI model, which is going to give the new content generation summarization of that overall reviews. Within the 2 minutes, they can generate it. So where it is helping about it, this LLM application or generative AI models. This is the best example. Summarization or classification of the data. Are you getting my point? The real-time use case. If you just take the 1,000 reviews and reviewing that one by one and concluding that by the Sony team to release that next best features, identifying that pros and cons of that from all the end users, it is very, very difficult. But if they use it, these generative AI models, so what all the products they have, that all the products related the reviews, within that like minutes they can get that summary of that all the reviews. So here their input data is their customers reviews, that is the input to the ML model, and ML model is going to take that input and it is going to analyze it about the pros and cons, and out of that like a best 5 or best 10, what of that like a prompt you are given, that as per the prompt it is going to generate a new content. That is summarization of that reviews. But internally it has to use that the patterns and models, right? Are you getting the points of it? Already we have those patterns and models, but how do you reuse it for about your internal personal data? So that is about LLM based applications. Yeah, generative AI needs huge volumes of the data. Yes, as we're talking that here, we are just talking about it. Amazon, one of that like product that is a TV, and that TV also about that Sony provider. But if you just overall, if you talk about that Amazon website and each product, what all the total products are they have that, and which products is they having the more selling or more the revenue they are getting about it, and in which country they are getting that. So if they would like to generate this kind of the reports, but here it is huge volumes of the data, right? Yeah, so generative AI needs a huge volumes of the data, but whenever the volumes of the data is increased and to on the base of the features what we are talking that inputs. So you have given that inputs on this volume of the data and it has to generate output. But to generate that output, backend process system should be high capacity, right? Normal CPU, if you just take it, so the CPU will get crashed. So you need to have the platform also to run these LLM models. Platform. But nowadays, if we need the platform at data centers, we have the cloud is solution, right? You don't need to start from the scratch, investing that on the data center. So we have the cloud. Yeah, generative AI models like a deployment where we are going to do that, the cloud, or it can be taken that's like on premises also on the base of the client. Yeah, generative AI models, yeah, statistical models that learn to generate new data by analyzing existing data. But to use that existing data and to process that, the underground platform also should be supporting. It should be supported. That's point like a cloud has come into the picture and it is given there were so many solutions, ready-made solutions. Yeah, more data analyzed and better new data like existing data. So more examples and the more if you give the training, then we'll get the better the outcomes. And if you just talking about it, GPT, ChatGPT. So GPT-3 model was trained on a data set of 500 billions words of the text. See, ChatGPT, you have used and you are using that, or you have requested one. Yeah, I mean, one prompt is nothing but so that prompt backend it is going to running that on this 500 billions words of the text to generate that output. Like that 3.54 we have this different models. We'll talk it that all these different what are the different models and what is the cost of that whenever you are using open API to use that this existing model to generate about our new content. Yeah, so generative AI models, so which are the taking that the huge amount of the data, and it is going to use the data sets also use it include images, text and code scrapped from the open web. See, 500 billions of this the text data is nothing but where this data has been collected. That is through internet only, right? That is Wikipedia, the books, or the open source code. That is was Java programming or Python programming or .NET programming. They have given that all this data to these models and conversations. Yeah, so these are all like the inputs of the data which has been given to this generative AI models, and these AI models have been trained using this data to give the better output. When it was when it has come up with the GPT in the 2015, but it has come to this like the so many releases, and it has stabilized more into the last 3 years, 3 4 years only. But once it has come up that the chat GPT into the market, we see there's a lot of the revolution in the market, right? So like this chat GPT kind of the models, if you like to implement in our own organization, that is a private data. Now, if we just talking about it, this chat GPT has been trained using that internet-based data. This is the public data. Wikipedia, yes, that is public. Everyone can access it. And some forums, some books, some open source code, and some conversations. This is the public data which has been used to give the training to the chat GPT. But what about if you talk about Amazon? Amazon, they have their own the internal products data that is a private, right? They should not give that to that everyone. Okay, they display in their portal what all the items are available. But all that data, they have those in their databases, some storage systems. And if you're going to review that one product, that review which will be stored in one of the storage, that could be database or like a huge amount. I mean, that could be file system or which type they are using. That is their internal. But that data, it has to be reused and re-evaluated to create a new content. That is best example, summarization or visualization. How it can be implemented internally. ChatGPT, we are talking that okay, that is a public. But what about each organization? They have the products and the products related data, they have that, and customer service, they have that. But to give the better service to the customers on the existing data, which they have that from their products, how they are coming with that to give the better services? They are going to use these LLM based application, these large language models they are using, and they are giving the better service to their customers. Like a chat GPT, we are talking about it, that is public one. But what about the private? We have the banking domains, insurance domains, investment domains, healthcare domains, educational domain, automobile. So in all these industries, if you just talk it to give the better service to their customers, now the large language models kind of the applications are going to introducing into the market. Why we are talking about it, the next generation of these applications is this is the kind of the requirement. We are not going to work like as a website implementation. So we are going to define that GPT kind of chat GPT kind of thus applications with private data as per this organization to give the better customer support or customer services. Suppose these days, whenever you are getting this the loan, I mean a credit card or loan, these kind of the calls, they are like automated calls, right? So voice based. So that has been automated to give the service to the customers. What are the like a loan and the loan offers? They have that, and they have automated voice based the content, voice based service like the text based. Suppose so in some of the portals, whenever you go to that, you will see that like a customer support chat window. The chat bots will be implemented using their existing data. What are the products do we have that, and which I mean the product and product related services. No human being is required nowadays. That can be handled through the simple one chatbot. But the chatbot is going to use the backend of this model on the base of the user question. It is going to find that from the data, that question related data finding, and giving that the response back to the client. But how these chatbots can be implemented to give the better service to the customer? That could be text based, that could be voice based, that could be image based, video based. These kind of the content generation from the existing data that can be processed or implemented by using this LLM. Best example, ChatGPT, but that is a public one. But what about the private data? So if I'm having this like, okay, the realization technologies, and we have this all like courses information, products information. But whenever anyone is asking us, I need to give the support on this ChatGPT with the chatbot itself. Yes, we have implemented that chatbot, but that chatbot to use it, you need to have the chatbot. I mean, ChatGPT 4 version, which is some commercial version. Then if you ask us about our products and that product where we don't need to answer it, it is going to give that answer to you. But how did it has been implemented? We have used ChatGPT and about our website, whatever the data we have, that website URL we have given as an input to the ChatGPT. So in that website, what are the content we have, the data we have, the data will be scrapped by this model. And whenever anyone user is asking the question, and from that the website, that question related I mean, it is going to find that related data and it is going to give the response back. Website itself is the input to my model. Or if I may have the database is that the input for my model to generate that new content. This is the kind of applications we are going to work it, which is the next generation. That's why I'm talking about it, a new AI engineer in the market. I'm not talking about a deep learning engineer or machine learning engineer. We don't need that all the algorithms and we don't need that all the stuff. Anyone can easily learn it and implement about these LLM model applications. You don't need that any prerequisite. Are you clear my points? Are you following that my points? Type the yes in the chat window if you're following. Are you able to imagine that next generation? Okay, fine, good. So let me conclude it. Yeah, this is LLM based applications we are working that. But these LLM models we are implementing is nothing but a backend existing models. We are going to reuse that. But main, which data you are going to give that as an input about your website, you are going to give that as an input for about this LLM model, or do you have that existing data source or database? The database is already having the data about that, about products or about services. That is as an input to that about your model. Because ChatGPT you cannot integrate directly with about your database. ChatGPT is a public domain. You cannot use it. Or if you use it like that, then ChatGPT about your data will be public. Yes. By this process, we can find the low price of the demanded product in which area easily. Yes. Which way you are going to use it? Yes. You can train about your model, but how you can give the training? That is the LLM implementation. And you should have the some prompts generation, prompts engineering techniques. Okay. So let me conclude it. So what is large language models is a trained deep learning model. It understands and generates text in human-like fashion. As we're talking that, explain about the dogs. Or what about the dogs? If you ask the question, it is going to explain like as a human being. Yeah, LLMs are the good at understanding and generating human language. Yes. So the garden was full of beautiful. So if you just type this word, then it is going to give that like a output. I mean, if you just these are all the features we are talking that. Feature is nothing but input. Yesterday we were talking that. If you give this input to the prompt LLM, and it is going to give that generating that output. Yeah, so these models are trained on huge amount of the data. And while using these models, we don't need to provide a label data. Yes, we don't need that label data. You can give it any kind of that data. And it is not possible when we have a huge amount of the data. Yes, labeling that is not possible, right? In the huge amount of the data. Example, OpenAI is ChatGPT. Yes. And Google Bard, we have that. Or Meta's Llama. They're all like models which are available in the market now. They're all the transformers are available. Now, how do we use these transformers? ChatGPT is one transformer. Google Bard is another transformer. From the Meta, Llama is another transformer. So you can use it any model. Which model? That is on the basis of the client requirement. But using these models and using about our existing the data, how you can design about your applications. Yeah, ChatGPT, who is the vendor? I'll talk it more deeply about whenever we start the course. Yes, ChatGPT, OpenAI, and they have the different models which they have given the training. 3.5, that is one training model. GPT-4, this is another training model, but they're all like LLM models. So if you like to use the GPT-4, this is the license required. Some you need to pay some cost whenever you are going to use this model. But GPT 3.5, that is open source. Anyone can use it. So here, whatever the data you are entering, we say that the prompt, and this prompt which will be submitted to the generative AI model. And generative AI model is going to refer that the backend, there is a huge amount of the data. That is article, jokes, or the poems, or the code. So this data is already given the training. And using this data on the base of the prompt, it is going to give the response back like as a human being. That is the beauty of these generative AI models. Yeah, what can LLMs be used for that? Yeah, chatbots, as just I was talking about it, chatbots implementation or virtual assistants. So if you just talk it about these kind of applications, it is going to replace that 24 by 7 the call support engineers, right? Not like 100%, but some of the members are going to impact it or not. So wherever you have that user support or interactions, that can be automated now with the chatbot or virtual assistant bots. Question and answers model. Content generation, like in the marketing, the field and advertising field, content generation. Yes, that is going to replacing that, like a digital marketing people. And a language translation, the translation, which we can say that the communication. Now, if we just observe that, like we have the translator apps. So Telugu to Hindi or like English or English to Chinese. So which language that's do you want to which you would like to have the conversation, that's you can have it, right? The language translation. So these are all application as we're talking that text summarization. Suppose I have that one PDF which is I have in that 300 pages book. But in that entire PDF, I need to have that summary of it. What is the main content, main points? I don't know. I don't have the time to go ahead and reading about the 300 pages. Then if I give the PDF as an input, and if I ask that give me the summary on this PDF, then within the 1 or 2 pages, so on the basis of the content, it is going to generate output, and within 1 month, within 1 hour or 2 hours, you can complete that. What is the main important points? Do you have that in the 300 pages? That's a PDF book. That is the beauty of these LLM models. Yeah, question and answer based, these kind of applications, brainstorming or code generation. Yeah, now in that IT industry, if we know that one programming language, doesn't matter about it, knowing that like a Java or like a Python, all that. If you know, or if you're the master in one programming language, you can work for any programming language. That is the kind of the productivity that we are expecting that by the or from the software engineers, by the management team. If we say this, you know the Java, And even if they have the Python requirement also, maybe they can recruit you. Because once if you know that's the programming language, one programming language that is object oriented, which are related to the same category, then you can use these code generations and you can understand easily and you can work with that. So now I don't need to look it about that, the specialization of the Python developers or the specialization of the Java developers. If I am having the requirement on the Python development, even I can recruit the Java developer also, but he should know how to use the AI tools. That is important. If he says, I know the Java, but I don't know that AI tools, thank you, boss. But if you say thus, I know the Python with AI tools, how do we use that, the code generation tools and code generation models? Welcome, boss. Even they have the different requirement also, because you know that how do we use that AI tools to generate the code, whether it is Java related code or Python related code or some XYZ related. But whether you will able to use it to the properly those AI tools and understand that and implement that applications or not. If you have that capability, are you able to see this screen? Yeah, code generation models. If you are able to get it about it, then yeah, these PPT slides you are able to see that, right? Whatever I'm talking that. Okay, so these are all like a different use cases where the LLM is going to help you. So in almost in each and every field, this code generation, if you just talk it like IT and question and answers or this brainstorming or the chatbots, if you just talk it, any industry it can be used. Content generation, especially marketing and advertising, and a language translation. This is like the process model, language process models, text summarization. This also can be used in any field, right? Any industry. Yes, you can use it that. Question and answers model also. So AI is not just only for IT. So if you know these LLM based applications, you can work to get the better this kind of implementation. You can work for that any industry. So now all these industries are looking about it. LLM application developer, understanding their the data, and from that data, whether that is required to create like chatbots, or maybe that is required summarization of the data, or maybe that is required question and answers based the service to the customers. Which field, it doesn't matter that. Even that law system also is going to have that huge impact using these LLM based applications. So what are like suppose in our uh, yeah, the cases wise, if we just talk it that in the law, the who are using the lawyers, so in each and every case they need to go for that and they need to review about the previous the releases, right? That like I mean whatever we say that like penal codes, they should know it and they should know about that from each penal code the summary of it. But now if they give the training about this entire law system to the AI, which date which code has given this and which kind of like result they have given that, if they give the training to that to the AI system, and the same kind of the case is repeated, they give that case is the input, and it is going to review about that all that like existing that like a small code to that high level code, what are the results we have, that it can be evaluated and it can give that the summary, right? You see that how much it is going to give that the impact in this the law system. Yeah, next we see this in the next 2 or 3 years. We don't see that the case is pending like this, because now each and every time going back and reviewing that the liars about each and every the case, now they can summarize it with this AI models. That's kind of the revolution which are going to have this using these AI LLM models. Are you getting my point? Existing examples already we have this, right? That examples it can be used, and they can give the training model, and whenever the case is registered, yes, for that case the existing samples it can be taken by that from the AI model, and they can come up with the solutions immediately. It doesn't require that like a monthly or like yearly wise the postponing the cases. Yeah, that's kind of evaluation we'll see that using this AI. Yeah, final conclusion: artificial intelligence create machines that can simulate like human intelligence and behavior. As machine learning, we are talking that learning from examples, and generative AI learning from the examples to create a new content. But already in the market, we have so many examples, so much data. Now that data give the training to create a new content. This is the kind of the requirement now. But what are the limitations? We are talking that only one way of approach. But what about that from these the transformers which we have that like a chat GPT or llama or google bot or whatever we are talking, that we have some limitations, right? So there are like higher cost. Yeah, chat GPT if you are using 3.5, that is open source, you can use it. But fourth model, GPT-4 model you are using, you need to take the tokens, and you are going to take the tokens is another, you need to pay the amount. So this is a cost based. A ChatGPT knowledge limited to the September 2021. Yes, 3.5 model, if you are going to use it, that is limited to that. That means it has given that trained data up to September 2021 only. Suppose if I ask you that in 2023 World Cup, the Cricket World Cup, who was the winner? ChatGPT doesn't respond it. It doesn't know that data. So it was trained up to September 2021. No access to real-time knowledge, or no access to private data sources. Yes, as we're talking that the private data, Amazon products data, or any if you just take it like any domain. So these models are not having the private data sources access, and these have been given the training up to that some limited data which is available in on the internet. So there are some limitations we have that. But with these, I mean, so to overcome these limitations, so what are the limitations we are talking that? If you'd like to implement about your own data model using this private data, or giving that a training up to that or until to the latest the real-time data with less cost, then we can implement about our own LLM apps. Yeah, developing web application, so thus you can ignore it, but yes, web application I'll conclude it. But how it can be implemented LLM based application? Yes, we have this the Python some modules which are helping that. Yes, LangChain is one of the model, and we have that like some frameworks also. I'll conclude all those. The RAG model. So most of the application which they are using, that's now the RAG model. But they're all different frameworks are also available. Different. We'll come back. Yeah, LangChain is that's one of the best framework which are helping that to implement LLM based applications. And this LangChain is helping not only about your OpenAI. Suppose some data you need to get it with OpenAI, or some data you need to get it latest data. Latest data is available on the Google, right? Online data. Online data to get it, you need to integrate about your LLM app application with the Google. Or maybe you need to integrate about your LLM application to get the data from about your own data sources. That is about your CSV files, about your PDF files, about your databases. But how do we integrate with the different AI models or the backend data? That is about this framework, LangChain. So using the LangChain, the Python framework, we can integrate with the backend different models which are already available in the market, or you can define about your own private data. You can get it this data and you can train this model and you can get that output. Are you clear these points? LLM application implementation. So this is also with the Python. So you should know the some Python basics. That is, we are going to deal it anyway. But whenever after completing the Python, you should know there's some cloud environment. Yes, cloud requirement. Because if you have a huge amount of the data and to run it, all these applications, you need to have that high capacity of the systems. But high capacity of the systems, where we can get it, or how do you get it quickly is, that is cloud providers are providing that. Cloud, Python, with this kind of architecture, that is, I mean, the frameworks, that is a LangChain. Using the LangChain, how you can integrate with the public models or the private models, or online data, that is a Google. Are you getting the points about it? And as well as deploying these LLM based applications. Yes, we have that normal Python application deployment or Docker and Kubernetes based application deployment. Docker and Kubernetes. And these applications to deploy it, you should know that the pipeline as well as, because this is the not one time activity, right? You need to give that, keep on giving that latest data and keep on training this model and tuning that model. That is a continuous process. Integration is required with the different sources where the data is available. Maybe that is OpenAI models, maybe that is Google, or maybe that is required internal private data. You need to integrate all these backend resources, data to get it. And as well as from this data, you need to train it, training, tuning, and on the basis of like outcomes which is coming, that to get the better outcomes, we need to keep on giving that fine tuning or reinforcementing, also we'll call it that. So this is the framework we are going to learn, that this architecture using the LangChain framework. How you can integrate with OpenAI, how you can integrate with Google, how you can integrate with about your databases, and how you can get the data. From that data, how you can feed that features, and using that features, how to get that output from these backend resources. Suppose normal web application, if you just talk it, web application, like websites. Websites, how that would be client side, middleware layer, backend database. So if you're going to work with that web application, this is the architecture we'll talk at that. 3-tier architecture or entire architecture. But LLM based application, if you're going to work with that, so this is the architecture we are going to work with. And backend, these kind of existing models we are going to integrate. That could be OpenAI, Hugging Face. Hugging Face is the very beautiful framework which is going to helping that to integrate with the different transformers. And Google, Wikipedia, data sources. Wikipedia is like a site based, right? And you can give that about your site is itself is the data. Whenever you are giving that framework, yes, LangChain. LangChain is one kind of that Python module, but frameworks we have that RAG framework. We can say that. I'll conclude that later. So how that would be, and whenever we start the course, and RAG model we are going to use that. But in that RAG we are going to use the Python LangChain. Yeah, Hugging Face is also helping about it to integrate with the multiple backend models. This is one kind of provider who is providing the model. So that's why we're talking that there are already models are available. You don't need to implement a model from the scratch. But how do you integrate all these models, and how do you get that the better outcomes from these models. So that is about your LLM application. Getting the point of it. You don't need to start from the scratching to implement about your model. Okay, so that is about the next generation of the AI engineer. Are you clear these points? Are you good? Have you understand that objective? Which kind of that application are we going to work it or not? I mean, I have got this picture. So type this in the chat window if you understand these points. Then we'll talk about that about our program. Yes, yes, yes. I see that clear. Okay, good. Yes, exactly. The vector database, I mean, suppose whenever we are, suppose if you just remember that about our ChatGPT model, ChatGPT is going to manage that the history, right? History of it. And it requires some memory. So whatever the prompt you are entering, that prompt is related to the previous context. So here we have the memory chaining options and vector databases options. So this kind of that vector database is temporary storage which you can use it as memory cache system point of view. Memory chaining, because the context, whatever the prompt you are asking, that a prompt, suppose you are working with the customer in the chatbot, but that questions whatever you are asking the latest, it should be related to the maybe previous questions, right? It should handle that response as that on the basis of the previous context or current context. But how the context can be managed, how you are going to manage that the memory chain of that the question and answer system, all those cases, the vector database system and a lang chain is kind of the middleware framework. These are all going to help in that. Yes, we are going to talk about all those points. Are you clear? Okay, good. Awesome response from everyone. So that's about the next generation of the AI engineer. So it is not just like, I don't think it like I need to learn the algorithms or all that. No, you don't need all those points. But you should know how do we use that existing models and giving that about your input to data and how do we manage it that model is backend integrations and on the base of this inputs, how you can tune it and how you can get the better result. This kind of the model implementation with the code based we have, no code based tools are also available in the market. Even if you are, yes, that's why we're talking that which industry you are in, that doesn't matter it. These AI tools for the everyone, this LLM application is for everyone, but little bit programming is required. Or we have the some of that no code tools also which are available in the market to design these LLM models. But with the code, yes, like if you like to define about your user interface models, then some coding required. User interface, like a prompt you are entering, that chart that you are implementing is nothing but you need to have some user interface mechanisms, right? Yeah, fine. Let me talk it about our program. Are you clear these points?